Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. One of the most important lessons as a broadcaster that I learned from Rush Limbaugh was his use of the term drive-by media. And drive-by media only works if everyone participates. If there's someone that goes and actually loops back and returns to these stories and checks up on how the reporting stands up through the test of time, so much of the narrative that you see on all these platforms collapses. Example, go outside right now. Isn't it nice? Isn't it beautiful outside? I realize, for the rest of the world, or at least the Yankees, September means the leaves are browning, the cool breeze is coming in, and fall's being ushered. It's the end of the the hot temperatures. But in Texas, this is where I'm from. Summer's still 100 degrees. Summer's still even at the end of summer, your highs are still in the 90s usually. So the fact that I can look at my phone right now and it's 86 degrees, wow, that's as hot as it's going to get. When I walked to work this morning, it was 79. What the heck? So what happened? I thought we were going to have the hottest summer ever. I thought, if you listen to Al Gore, you think we're all in a boiling cauldron like Bugs Bunny in a kettle with some carrots and onions. No, things are actually pretty nice. So what happened? You were told at the beginning of the summer, well, it's going to be another scorcher. I don't know if our power grid's going to be able to handle all of it. It's going to be broken by the 100-degree days. And yes, last year we had a crazy run of 20 days in a row where we broke 100 or something ridiculous like that. Did you hear any updates on how few 100-degree days we had this summer? I saw a report, I think it was at the end of week before last. So not Friday, 3 days ago, but the Friday before that. I remember that reading right before I went off into the weekend and thinking about it 2 weekends ago. Someone had done a rundown and they're like, there was only one day this summer where we broke 105. One day. There were only a handful of days where we broke 100, and it wasn't for that long. And in recent memory, this is one of the coolest summers in a while. Well, where's the reporting on that? That's not what happened. Think about all this climate reporting that you're subjected to at the beginning of the hurricane season in May. They're like, well, the predictions for hurricane season are even worse than previously thought. We're going to have a million, bazillion, bajillion hurricanes. This may be the worst hurricane season ever. How's that going? Is this the worst hurricane season ever? No, it's not. We didn't have a wild number of hurricanes, more frequent and stronger like we were told in An Inconvenient Truth in 2006. Huh. Well, are all these people that reported we're going to have an overactive hurricane season, it's going to be dangerous and powerful and frequent, are they going back and correcting the record? Are they spending as much time telling you wrong predictions as they do telling you the truthful report of what actually happened? What does that mean if most of your reporting is just based on predictions in the future and you never go back? You never do the Rush Limbaugh drive-by media thing where you go back and say, okay, all these predictions that were made 4 months ago, how'd they turn out? Oh, they all did terrible? And it's worse than you think. Real journalism would not do that. Real journalism wouldn't even report on the projections. That's not what the news is. The news is what happened today while you were at work. The news is what happened while you were busy being a family person over the weekend or handling your career or whatever. Not the scariest predictions of what could happen. No, you're supposed to. If you're going to be reporting on the weather, it's not, look out, this could be the worst hurricane season ever. No. You go back and you say, this was a below average hurricane season at the end of the season. That's not reporting when you make predictions, unless you're going to spend as much time and as loudly and vociferously and bombastically correct yourself. These people all owe us an apology. Did the power grid break? Did it collapse? Did we have rolling brownouts and blackouts because we didn't adopt the Green New Deal? No, we didn't. Do any of the news stations, are they going to apologize to you? No, they're not. But they should. You heard me when I falsely accused McKinney of being on the gender wagon. I went out the next day when I found out I was wrong. I did a 15-minute correction because I wanted to spend as much time correcting myself and telling you I was wrong as by passing along wrong information. I wasn't even wrong. I was just passing along the information from the Dallas Observer and Texas Scorecard. But do they ever do that to you? Do they ever apologize? Hey, we told you there's going to be a bunch of hurricanes. We were way off. You've never heard that once. Huh. What are the odds? All right, thank you very much for hanging out with the James Show. We got 57 days until the election. If you want to get your presidential debate bingo card for tomorrow's debate, go to WBAP.com. There's 4 different versions. You can download them all and play along. If you want to come out in person and hang out with the James Show and the American Jewish Conservatives, they're having a debate watching party with special host Ken Paxton's going to be there. If you want to get your picture taken with the Texas Attorney General, I'll be there. You should come anyway. In the meantime, stick around. Mark Levin's next. I'm James Parker. This has been The James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome to The James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. What did I just say? Am I dealing with my kids here? No, and I don't mean you. I know you're fine, but there's a couple people that the minute I said, you don't have to email me for the bingo cards, you can go to WBAP.com, you can go to the WBAP Facebook page, you can go to the WBAP Twitter, X, whatever it is, and you go get them. We don't have to email out the Google link or anything. I did the proper thing. I put them on the web just for this purpose. I put it on the website so I wouldn't have to email it out to everyone. And not that I'm like overwhelmed with response here, but there was like almost 100 people last time that I was emailing back and forth with for these bingo cards. So I did the right, more efficient thing. And I put them on the website. And right as I said that, two people emailed. They're like, hey, man, can you send me the bingo cards? It's my kids, man. My kid, like, I tell them not to do something. They immediately do it. It's like, hey, don't walk in the grass in your socks. And they just walk out in the grass. What? It's like, God. And it's okay. I mean, I'm not really mad. Just frustrated, I guess. I don't know. Elizabeth made me feel better, though. Like when we were talking about in that last segment, how straws came up and she said straws are overrated. That's the kind of dismissive sarcasm I need. Thank you, Elizabeth. All right, 800-288-9227 if you want to jump in the conversation. My next guest is Julie Bauke, back on from the Bauke Group. And there's a disturbing trend. Surveys are showing that a bunch of people who are losing their jobs when they do get rehired, it's at a lower paying job. Now, there's a couple of ways that you actually like lose income. And it's really rarely, almost never, that your boss comes in and says, hey, I'm going to cut your pay. Either you get inflated out of your living standard or you lose that job and have to take a lower paying one. So I think this is a pretty important statistic. Julie, welcome back to the show.
Thanks.
All right. So go. What do you think when you hear that? Go ahead.
You know, it's so hard to know when you have generalizations like that. What is really behind it? There's a few things that have gone on here in the last several months that can contribute to this. Right now, so we had new workers coming into the market the last, let's say, 3 to 4 years, like people right out of college, Gen Z. Then what happens is the companies have these big layoffs, and a lot of times some companies will do kind of a last in, first out sort of kind of thing, and so they lay off their younger people. And then there's a flux of people out there who have a little bit of experience, but not enough to really get that solid toehold into the market. Then every semester, a bunch of new people come right out of college who are available for cheaper. And so it's like this, we have this weird confluence of things where we have and it's crazy because it feels like it doesn't make sense, but we have a skills gap where there are certain jobs, we don't have enough people for those jobs. Those people can command a premium salary. Then we have people who are trying to get a toehold in the market, maybe early career folks who are competing with, because of layoffs, they're competing with a broad range of people like never before. So it makes it harder to stand out. And then after you've been in the job search for a while, you start to think, well, I guess I have to take this lower paying job. I guess I have to take a pay cut, a mulligan, go low to go high eventually. And people get worn out by the search, which admittedly keeps getting harder because of AI and scammers and sort of the lack of human interaction. And so people who are looking for a job right now are really pulling their hair out. And what happens is a lot of times they end up just settling because it feels like it's the only thing they can do.
Bro, you just described the Dallas Cowboys economics right now. There's a couple of really skilled positions that almost nobody can do, and they get all the big money. Your third string tight end is the lowest paid guy. I just know this because we did a segment on it last week. And I think that's a sort of a perfect metaphor, because, when you look at the NFL, there's really only like maybe 15 or 16 good quarterbacks. And you got to pay a premium if you want one of those guys. And so I see that too. And the other sort of anecdotal echo that I had in my life was the tech bubble when that burst around 2000, 2001. I think we saw those tech jobs lose wages, but it was sort of temporary. It bounced back.
Yeah, it does. And I think what's really important is that no condition in the job market is permanent. Unless you are in a field, a profession that is, really waning, that is being replaced by technology or by AI.
Yeah, like radio.
And look at media in general, though. What turmoil media is in, both radio and TV, trying to figure out how to compete for our very short attention spans among all of people's options out there. So it's media, but it's radio, it's TV, it's really all of them.
Right,
so,
but
that's a great example.
Well, the way you dig through it, this isn't just like a lament or a complaint or just an airing of grievances. It sounds like we've kind of come to a solution here. If you want to be more valuable, develop a new skill. Go get a new skill. Take a class or learn a language in computer language or how to code or how to do video editing or social media or skills. That's what you need. New skills. You want more money? Get new skills.
So think about that compared to, now I'm a boomer, compared to the decades ago, say this 80s and 90s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, when people came into the workforce. And some of those people are still in the workforce. And came in, was like, okay, pick a path. Like maybe even when you're 18 and picking a college major, pick a path. Now go do that for 45 years. And, it's not realistic. It's not healthy. And it really didn't work when you look at the job dissatisfaction numbers that have been out there for decades. So now where we are, you are responsible for keeping your skills and abilities relevant. And that is whether you work inside of a big company or whether you are planning to, change careers, move companies. So if you are sitting in a company right now and you are Gen X, boomer, and you're saying, okay, only 5 more years to retirement, only 10 more years to retirement, in some case 2 years to retirement. There is, back in the old days, you could kind of just sort of, retire on the job, be that person who walks around with their cup of coffee and distracts everybody else and talks about the good old days. But companies are they aren't going to put up with that anymore. And so if you have 2 to 3 years left, you still need to be making sure that you are retaining your value as an employee, because that's what companies, they're laying off. They're not afraid to do it. And it all has to do with, are we getting the value for what we're paying you?
All right, that's Julie Bauke from the Bauke Group, BAUKE, the Bauke Group. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
All right, if you want to jump in, 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. In 5 minutes, the continuing attempt to make Kamala Harris a moderate. This is The James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.